5:15 p.m. Friday, November 21st, 2014. That was a call from a creditor. Got to go pay my storage fee. So, Jacob looks at that storage fee. He's like, "Well, all this junk. Why don't we just get rid of all this furniture? Furniture costs a lot of money when you've got an apartment and you don't have any chairs to sit in and no tables and stuff like that." I think about how much money I've spent on storage fees. I probably could have bought brand new furniture by now. $53 a month for, what, the last 6 months or so. Well, no, it's been a year since I've been paying there. Before that, I had another storage place, and we left there. I was there for about a year, and then I had another one that I had about a year. So for about 3 years, I've been putting all of our furniture and stuff in storage. And then, you know, because, I mean, it takes a lot of money to pay for that. You know, it does. Probably, at least I've got probably 2.5 solid years of paying storage fees. So, let me see, if you're looking at $50 a month, that would be $600, $1,200 over the course of 2 years or so that I've probably paid for storage. Which I could have bought second-hand furniture for that much. But if you don't have $1,200 in your pocket at the time you move into a place, then it doesn't help, you know. But it's a lot of work. I worked really hard to collect that furniture, and Roland's 2 end tables in his living room were mine. I gave them to Eva. Eva left them at Roland's, and Roland says now they belong to the house. The white bookshelf in the hallway I gave to Eva, trying to show goodwill towards her, and she left that too. Doesn't mean anything to Roland. That they're wrought iron end tables that are painted white with glass tabletops that, you know, has, over in Fairfield, some guy was putting them out on the street with a matching bed frame, and I asked him, could I have them? He said, yeah. And there was a lady who came up, she'd already gotten the bed frame. So, I wish I could buy new furniture. But, you know, I wouldn't have saved that $1,200 for the last 2 years because I wouldn't have had it to save. Because I haven't even made enough money in the last 2 years to have to pay taxes. So I wouldn't have had that to spare. And coming up with the storage fee money has been hard enough in itself. Just an extra $50 a month, you know. Well, what's even harder is to have a place to live and nobody to put furniture in it. And, I don't know, maybe I should let go of it. Maybe it's wrong for me to look at it like that. Is, you know, I got 2 tables, I've got recliners, I got 2 microwaves, shelves, but it's all secondhand stuff, you know, it's not new. Scuffed up and stuff like that. So, yeah, I got a queen-size bed in there. I used to have 2 twin beds, but now I only have 1 queen-size bed, and that's a double bed. That's a queen. And then Jake's twin bed that he has at home. You know. I remember how desperately I searched for furniture on the side of the road. And how hard it was, you know, grabbing it and putting it in the Durango and then taking it home and stuff like that, you know. So it might be junk to somebody else, and I wish I had better stuff, but I know how hard I worked to get that. So I guess that's why I've held on to it. So in case we needed it again, we would have it and wouldn't have to do all that work again to get it. Jacob's books. I have lots of books. I have an encyclopedia set. I've got pots and pans and dishes and silverware and utensils and lamps. You know, they cost a lot. Even if you go buy them $5.99 at Goodwill, you know. So I guess then you just buy it piecemeal as you can. And maybe that's what, you know, the way I should look at it. Start over again when you have to start over again. I'm thinking, nah, $50 a month not to have to worry about that again. It's not such a big price to pay, really, is it? Really, you know. And then, you know, I'll just work hard to make it work, and then I'll just get it together, you know. And, so I got this job now, and I want this job, and I'm just going to have to make this job work and do the best I can with it, and hope the fortune favors the bowl. Those three administrators at Circle K didn't say anything to me but, hi, how are you doing, as I was walking by to leave, and that was all they said. I know that woman had her camera on. And that's why I had mine on, because then nobody say nothing to me, you know. You know, and that's a lot on the line, you know, because I'm not going to see that paycheck until 2 weeks from today. Today's Friday. Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks before I'll get 35 hours worth of pay, which is going to work out to be, let me see. I can use my calculator here. $35 times 7, 70, $269.50 for 1 week. I can make $375 as a substitute teacher in 1 week. If I work 5 days, but that's not guaranteed, and then having holidays off. You know, and then the times of the year when, like Christmas break, they only pay you, like, your December check is, I think one of your December checks is only for 5 days, and then 2 in January for 5 days. And that's if you work every day. you're still not going to see, and those are critical months, and, take the humiliation, go back and do whatever Mary Nash Robinson says and just keep your job, and, well, she wouldn't be doing that, what she's choosing to do if she had intended to let me have my job. They wouldn't have done what they did, and she wouldn't be saying, I need to come to some agreements with her first, like I'd done something wrong, especially after Mr. Graham pulled what he pulled on me. He should have been fired for that. And to have people act like it just doesn't matter. It matters because I matter. That's why my son matters to me. And I don't need to dance with the devil with just the hope and prayer that, gee, maybe this week it won't happen that bad. And this week, maybe I won't get, fired this week. I mean, I can get that at Circle K, or maybe Circle K won't be like that. We'll see. Gee, golly whiz. Do the math on that and tell me. Maybe it won't. Maybe people will be nicer about it this time. Maybe I'll get to work more. But to go into classrooms with children that I know I'm skilled and capable of teaching, and to be put through the games that I've been put through by school administrators and teachers and students and all that kind of stuff. And there's not been I'm not saying that's been, everything, every place, every time, everywhere. There's a lot of good teachers that I remember that even sympathized with me, and principals who did, and there are good educators out there with strong skills. I believe that, and I know that's true. I need the job. I need my job back, and saying I just don't care enough to protect myself. That was outrageous behavior by Mr. Graham. It was unbelievably outrageous for him to have done what he did, and for them to come up with this reason to fire me. That's so bogus anyway. That teacher I talked to in Kroger's the other day, she's like, what? Excluded list? Huh? What? You have got to be kidding me, was her reaction. And she told me that she was documenting everything. She said, I just document everything. And she said that with, like, fear, Yeah, I know, I just document everything. I just document it all. And, that indicates a clear problem. That's not just me. I wasn't the only person who felt the need to protect myself. And if you're, dealing with a situation and an employer who is that way, that's life, and people are mean, and that's it, and deal with it, and go back and put up with it and get your job back. I know that I'm not a pedophile. I know I've never dealt drugs. I know there was no reason for that to happen to begin with. There was no reason for the things that happened before that to have ever happened, but they did. And I haven't seen any kind of indication, particularly from the school board, to do anything about that. And, in fact, have seen blatant, unbelievable, painful, terrifying, really, to have him start hollering and saying he's calling the police and security and all this kind of stuff, like I'd done something wrong. And the snow jobs I've gotten from the police and people when I've tried to defend myself, I don't need to go to jail for anybody to sit back and have fun. I love my son more than I love a paycheck. And to be accused of those types of things, and to know that's what's happened so far, and that somebody sat back and played games and just barbecued you in front of God and everybody, particularly that day at the school board office in the hall with Mr. Allen and then Mr. Graham's little games. We'll just let the lawyers work it out in court. We'll just let the lawyers, really. So, fuck you, and I don't give a shit, and he's my boss. I have to do what he says. What do you want me to do? when he knew, because I'd already been to him before, and he, I've been down there a couple of times and told him, and then I was, completely defended then. So then there we were again. I love my son, and I'm a good teacher, and I do a good job as a substitute teacher. I'm not perfect, but I know that I'm good at my job, and I don't go to school to molest children. I don't substitute teach to be a child molester or deal drugs or anything like that. I've never had those kind of motives because I'm not that kind of person. I am not made that way. I'm an excellent teacher, and there's plenty of evidence for that. I have collectively 11 years of experience in the field of education. I was a homeschool teacher for 5 years. I wasn't certified, but you can bet I'm a teacher. I was registered through the state of Louisiana as a homeschool teacher, and I homeschooled my son. And I scored at Pearson, and I did so well there. The principal even told me, Jeanette, you really got a knack for this. You should really think about going into special ed. Promoted to supervisor. And even before that, when I was a kid, I used to tutor foster children. So I know that being a teacher is what I'm skilled at doing, and that I have those skills. And I've proven that, and I know that. So why you want to do that to somebody? If anybody wants cooperation from me, they need to ask me for it. Why is that so hard to do? Really, it's not a trick question. Why is that so hard to ask for? Why wouldn't you want to ask for my cooperation directly instead of playing all these kind of games? So you can sit back and tell me, that you're the boss? I don't have a gun and a badge, saying that it's my fault and I'm not a protective parent. Tell me how I'm supposed to do that if I don't have a gun and a badge and I don't have a way to walk onto a campus of a school or in a place of business and say this and that and the other about this person, and therefore this is what we think and what we know, and let me hide in the back office here, and you pretend that I'm, I'll just say this out loud in front of you, and, we'll do whatever, and we'll make it look like it's legal. And you just lie for me, and, this is because she won't cooperate. Do those people know that I've never been asked to cooperate? No. Do they know the reason why that person is standing there to begin with? No. They're telling you these reasons, but do you know those reasons to be true? No. You just assume because they have a badge and they're saying all this to you that it is true. Well, guess what? It's not true. It has never been true. And why are you treating that person like it's all okay to do this? And you really believe, honestly, that it's okay for this person to sit back and do this because it's in my best interest according to what that person says, and I've never had a conversation with that person. That person's never in or around me, and my son is doing nothing but following us around and taking notes from people and throwing snitches at us all the time and falsifying stuff. Do you know all those things? Falsifying purchases, throwing drunks and all this stuff at me and my son, illegally surveilling us. Are you aware of all those facts? Well, you don't know it because you've never heard my side of the story. And when you decide to take action based on what somebody tells you without investigating it yourself to see whether or not it's true, then you're taking sides and you're showing partiality. And just because they have a badge doesn't mean that they have the right to do that. You don't get a badge and get to do whatever you want to no matter what. We still have laws in this land, and there's still laws that you have to follow even if you have a badge. I don't have a badge, and I don't have a way to persuade people. I don't have a way to say, oh, really, that's what they say, but I've never agreed to supervision. This person is hiding in the back room from you, or hiding from me in the back room and telling you all these things because they don't want me to know who they are, so I can't file a lawsuit against them directly for defamation and slander. And they're sitting back telling you all this, and wink, wink, would just say that I'm here and I'm supervising her and I'm helping her get this job and everything so that, I can document all this and say all this because I'm really just doing what's best for her. I'm having people, like that woman, Jan, at the library the other night. She talked to me with such authority. And was, sent there for that purpose. And you get past the point of hating people It's like if somebody was walking up to you and ripping off pieces of your flesh and eating it. That woman was sent there because some jackass with a badge sent her there to say that he had provided me with counseling. No, she didn't provide me with counseling. She didn't say that she was there for that purpose. She was sent there to duplicitously sit next to me and make contact with me. Of course, if she's sitting next to me, oh, hi, how are you? Yeah, you interact with people, right? So I'm supposed to live in a vacuum and not talk to anybody around me? And, oh, it's just agreed to, and I'm just consenting to it because you sat next to me and pretended to be just like anybody else around me without identifying yourself to me and telling me that you were there. So you could say that you were delivering counseling to me, and you're not even a certified counselor, so that you can provide documentation to a jackass with a badge to say that he provided me with counseling or peer support. So he can say that he's supervising me. And I've never gotten counseling from anybody. You know, and yeah, I hugged her. You know why? Because I was tired. And I'm tired of hating people for being so despicably mean. I'm tired of it. And you get past the point where you hate them for it, and you still hate them. But then you realize how tragic it is, and that they don't care, that they are ripping your soul out by being so hateful in the nicest ways and duplicitous, and you're bleeding out in your soul because of the games that they're playing. And yeah, that was all I could think. I don't know why I would even feel that way, but I did. I just felt that it was so tragic what she was doing to me and my son, and it still is. And that she was sitting there being so deceptive, and that she thought she was so clever, and that the lie wasn't what really as successful as she thought it was, and that was the lie she was going to participate in. And what a waste of human life that is, of human energy, of the opportunity to interact with somebody and know them, and that you would do that to somebody and probably get paid for it, or not. Probably does, though. I'm sure she does. Peer counseling is probably what they're calling it. And that woman has no idea what my son and I have been through and what we live through on a daily basis. Only knows what jackass with a badge is telling her. And if she had any real character, would never agree to do something like that. And the whole precept, the whole idea is, well, she'll never agree to supervision, but she really needs it. I have to force her to cooperate with me or else. Well, that person is doing nothing but trumping up the charges to begin with. That there was no basis ever for any of it. And to sit back and torture me and my son like this, and it is torture. You know, I don't sleep at night. It's maybe 3 or 4 hours a night, maybe 5 if I'm lucky, but and insomnia is a characteristic of menopause, but shit, I haven't been able to sleep through the night in years. So, you know, I'm only 44 now. I haven't been going through menopause that long, you know. So, it is a tragic situation, and it is unquestionably the most evil thing that anybody could ever do with a badge, particularly to a child. The death threats that have been screamed, or threats of aggression, and death threats that have been screamed at me and my son, to do that to a juvenile is failure to supervise your informants. And if I have to videotape it to broadcast, that's your problem. and nothing happens even then, and you're still going to take testimony from those people, what do? Oh, whoops, I shouldn't have done that. Well, I'll just erase his testimony and put something else there. You know, there's no end to that kind of evil, and that's not what this country stands for, and it's not what I stand for either. You know that? And anybody ever needed my cooperation should have had the balls to ask for it, but trying to walk into a courtroom and argue that you're supervising me and my son because you're spying on us and getting everybody to lie for you and trying to say that I have full knowledge of who you are. No, I don't. You've never identified yourself to me. I don't know your name or badge number, and you haven't done any of the work that it takes for me and my son to survive. You're not doing that, honey. I am. You don't supervise people by following them around and talking to their employers behind their back. I was the one who sat there and listened in that class. I'm the one who put gas in this car today. You know, I bought the food. I applied for the food stamps. I qualified for them. I wouldn't need them if you hadn't done this to begin with to us. I'd be making $45,000 a year, at least. So, you know, that is a delusional assertion to make that and say, oh, well, she knew. She knew. What did I know? What I knew is that you told everybody else but me. That's what I know. And you didn't want me to know, and that you didn't do any supervising of me and my son. You never spent a dime on us. You sat back and let informants trump up, I think, probably babysitting charges in addition to, what else? Expense accounts. Nobody's ever spent a dime on me and Jake but me. That has never happened. So there's no way for you to defend yourself to me because I know what you've done. You know what I know, asshole? You know that I know. What you're hoping like hell, you sorry son of a bitch, is that you'll pull it off by walking into a courtroom and lying, and a judge will say that you're the supervisor of my son. My son doesn't even know you. You've never had any type of supervisory control over me or my child. And following me to the places where I work and talking to everybody and dogging me out like you did at Best Western and saying it's all my fault when you're sending informants in there to falsify drug deals because I won't suck your dick for you because you won't show me your face because you'd rather talk to dopeheads and drug dealers and drug addicts and flash your badge and tell people a bunch of lies. They never face me and have to prove what you're saying is true. While you tell everybody that I don't want to testify. I've been sitting here for 3 hours testifying into this phone. So who are you kidding? Really? It's 5:43. I gotta go get Jake. This is the battery. I've been charging this phone. Okay, I'm stopping now. 5:43 p.m. You know, and there's the hate again. And it's right, you know, it's the right thing. It's just. And, you know, that's what the Bible says, too. And I know all the quotes that say that that's not it, but there's other quotes, too, that say, yeah, if somebody's fucking you over royally, you got the right to hate their fucking guts for it. And to seek justice. And to protect yourself. You're scared shitless of me, you sorry son of a bitch, because you know I can. I'm an American citizen. I am completely innocent of all charges against me. I've never been a terrorist, pedophile, drug user, drug dealer, alcoholic, or anything like that. And whoever's saying that, you sorry jackass. One day you're going to pay for it, and you're not ever going to do this to me and my son again. And I'm going to make sure that you and your department never get the opportunity to do this to anybody else, if it's the last thing I ever do. But I'm not on a crusade here right now. I'm just trying to save me and my son. And desperately trying to do that. I hate your guts, and I don't even know you, so I don't blame you being the coward that you are. Really. It's very simple. It's called plain English. Try using it. Everybody's waiting to come pick up their kids. Well, there's 3 other cars out here. It's 5:45 p.m. Friday, November 21st, 2014.